Okay, Nick, come on here. Let me holler at you for a minute. Guys, I just want to holler at Nick Fuentes for a minute. Look at here. I know you kind of nervous. I know you really on the terrified side. Because, see, you scared that it's finna get out about you and Charlie's beef. Yeah, y'all were beefing. Before this incident, y'all were beefing. You ain't had nothing good to say about Charlie. And the fact that one of your little followers, the gropers I was telling y'all about earlier today, the little groper, yeah, the little groper Robinson, yeah, see, he was one of your followers. And he's the one that just so happened to say, went in and said he's the one that did it. All right? You nervous that smoke that Charlie's people sent our way, sent the left way. You nervous that smoke finna now come around to you.
Oh, no wonder Nick Fuentes canceled all of his public appearances that are coming up in the future. Yikes.
Sounded like Groypers. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them were fans of my show. Where's Charlie Kirk on this? Charlie Kirk cannot call himself a Christian anymore. I do not want to hear, and you cannot allow Charlie Kirk to go to one more public event, one more question and answer, one more ask me anything, without being protested, without being shouted down, without being interrogated about this. This guy goes around from campus to campus in the most artificial and phony.
You have to understand, man, as a podcaster, as someone who speaks in public on public platforms, that a lot of people are taking what you say to heart in ways that you might not be able to predict.
Tyler Robinson was a Groyper, which is a white nationalist. It's a far-right group that follow Nick Fuentes. You've seen like the Pepe the Frog or whatever, that little meme. That's like their little mascot. And it's like 4chan video game, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, it's all white nationalists and they follow Nick Fuentes. Here is a picture of him dressed up as one. Now, I've done 2 videos about this because I was speculating on it and I just wanted to get some more confirmation over the last few hours. This morning I had a feeling about it, but I wanted to get confirmation what the casing said. And once I was reading, as soon as it said catch this fascist, I knew everyone was going to go, oh, something about him's on the left. That is what they say on the right because they don't think they're fascist. They call everyone else fascist. Nick Fuentes constantly attacks people calling them fascists.
What I am finding out is that these groups of the so-called supremacists are all different. And they survive and live on red. Oh my goodness. The story of Kirk is literally just keeps getting deeper and deeper. It is allegedly said that Nick Fuentes is going silent and cancelling all his appearances because it is believed that, the person that did the do came from his camp, allegedly. As I'm going to play you these reactions from the people, the things that I've never heard about. Meanwhile, I even live on the internet. Sometimes I regretting knowing so much about America because the more you get to know the in-depth cults that reside in that country makes you question if America is a real place, if America, like, what kind of role is America playing in the end of the times. The fact that they are finding out it is not just one of their own, but one of their in-depth own. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how to explain these things. The people that I found on TikTok explain these things better. Maybe you won't be confused because me probably am confusing. We are going to watch these things that are unfolding in front of our eyes. We'll come back and talk about it, but my name is Gracie if you're landing on here for your very first time, and this channel covers a variety of things, so you are free to sit, watch, enjoy, and like and share. And if you like this page, hey, please go ahead and subscribe now. I'll see you guys later. Let's watch this first.
So he was just a Nick Fuentes super fan? He was just a Nick Fuentes. Apparently, Charlie and Nick had internal fighting, like beef within themselves. So it was right on right, white on white crime. Go on. Avenge him.
Are we gonna get a MAGA on MAGA gang war? I wasn't gonna get roped into this, but it's so hard not to, and there is a really important conclusion I've come to that I'll get to at the end of this video. Apparently now there's some evidence to suggest that the guy who sent Charlie to Candy Mountain was a Nick Fuentes fanboy. Y'all remember Nick Fuentes, right? The Your Body, My Choice guy? I'm very sad that now this is information I have that I have to live with for the rest of my life, but apparently that sentient crusty dorm room sock has his own little MAGA subcult called Groypers. Republicans, why are you so desperate to be in cults that your cults have cults? It's like cult inception. Guys, it's too many cults. You don't need that many cults. Anyway, where Charlie and the rest of MAGA try to use disingenuous, veiled logical fallacies to justify and make their racism, bigotry, and misogyny more palatable, Nicki Poo and the Groypers, on the other hand, are like, let your fascist flag fly. No need to apologize for the fact that you're a white supremacist and a raging misogynist. Wear it all out on your sleeve, like a red armband. Anyway, Nicki Poo's little Groyper cult was apparently always mad that Charlie wasn't as racist as he should be. And let's be very clear here, that's all an act. They are two ends of the same pipe. You can't take a person who's never been radicalized at all and immediately indoctrinate them into a group where the leader openly advocates assaulting women and praises Hitler. You gotta ease them into that a tad. Just warm them up to it, you know? And that is where Charlie and Turning Point USA came in. Charlie went around the country to schools grooming children. He would introduce kids whose frontal lobes weren't fully developed into radical ideas in the form of free thought and exchange and debate, normalizing those ideas. And then Fuentes and the Groypers swoop in and take it to the next step. They would go to his events and, quote unquote, debate him. They would ask him questions in these, debates that would take his veiled racist or misogynistic ideas to their most extreme conclusions. And by doing that, that platformed and normalized their bullshit. It takes all these kids who are now at least willing to consider what would normally be appalling because Kirk cracked open the door for them, and it pipelines them to the extreme. And then Fuentes goes and he interacts with these kids at these events, and he shaves them off into his movement by convincing them that Kirk is too moderate, too liberal, which is insane. And then he would get footage of this stuff at Charlie Kirk events where he was interacting with Charlie, interacting with people there, and he edits it to use Charlie's platform to legitimize himself and spread his ideas online. Then he uses this cult of online trolls he's accumulated to go online and convince people that Charlie is bad because he's watering down Donald Trump's message, and that pushes the Overton window further to the right, specifically with the demographic of young, lonely incels who are mad at the world. Charlie was like the cocaine at the house party of fascism. Where you're like kind of around it, you're like, you don't want to try this stuff, do we? It makes you feel really good and gives you lots of energy. So they try it, and that was the gateway drug to the black tar heroin of fascism, which is Nick Fuentes. So even though Charlie and Nick were likely buddies who probably orchestrated all of this shit behind the scenes together, when you build a cult on anger, you have to give your cult somebody to be angry at. And since Charlie already took the shotgun approach, making them mad at all the easy things like liberals and leftists and women and black people and immigrants and atheists, they had to manufacture this internal beef to move people further down the pipeline by making them mad at Charlie for not making people mad at all of those other people enough. And now that brings us to Tyler Robinson, a Mormon kid who's clearly kind of a loser, raised in a Utah Mormon, Trump-loving, gun-loving family where he's clearly indoctrinated from a young age with some bigotry, misogyny, and glorification of violence. And you might be saying, hey, how can you be sure that his family was racist and misogynistic and glorified violence? Because you can't vote for an adjudicated brags about assaulting women, offers to pay the legal fees of anybody who assaults people he doesn't like, called white supremacists very fine people, said when the looting starts, the shooting starts, has built an entire platform on demonizing brown people. The list goes on. Point is, you don't exalt those values to the office of the presidency without instilling them in your children. So this kid who's already been brought up around these beliefs shoots Kirk, he gets arrested, and then according to the Economic Times, he's already told police he's an admirer of Nick Fuentes. So add that in with the fact that he's had a Trump Halloween costume and a Groyper Halloween costume. He had Groyper-related, homophobic, and anti-trans inscriptions on his ammunition, and just fits the incel profile perfectly that Nick Fuentes preys upon. There's reason to believe that some of these rumors, and again, they are still currently all rumors until we get more information, that Kirk met his demise at the hands of somebody he himself personally pipelined either in person at one of his events or footage he put online that led him from Turning Point USA to Nick Fuentes. And if this is truly the case, which again, kind of feeling like it could be, then this is really kind of like that Grizzly Man documentary, where the dude goes and lives on an island with grizzly bears, and they're like, I know they're dangerous animals, but they like me, they won't eat me. And then, they ate him. The only difference is the dangerous animal is desperate incels. As a result, all those big alpha MAGA bros calling for a civil war a couple days ago have gotten real quiet recently, because apparently it got a little too civil for them. But I say, why calm down now, guys? Fight it out. You're always comparing yourselves to lions. Well, the white pride can't have two alpha lions in it now, can it? One side's gotta establish dominance. I say fight it out. Hell, we could even pay-per-view it. We'll call it Clash of the Cucks. This cult ain't big enough for the both of us. Although the Charlie people, might need a new champion since Charlie is indisposed. Anyway, all of this brought me to this incredibly important realization I mentioned at the beginning, and that is that Donald Trump file, who is blocking the Epstein files from being released to cover up his horrific sex with children, and Senate and House Republicans are complicit in those crimes and conspiracy, as the House has voted multiple times to block the release of the files, and the Senate just voted a couple days ago to block them as well. And any Republican who dares step out of line and demand accountability, like Thomas Massie, faces threats of death from the president himself when he said he is an insurgent and needs to be taken out. And that is actually important news from the past week. Stay focused.
Okay, Nick, come on here. Let me holler at you for a minute. Guys, I just want to holler at Nick Fuentes for a minute. Look at here. I know you kind of nervous. You know, I know you really on the terrified side. Because, see, you scared that it's finna get out about you and Charlie's beef. Yeah, y'all were beefing. You know, before this incident, y'all were beefing. You ain't had nothing good to say about Charlie. And the fact that one of your little followers, the gropers I was telling y'all about earlier today, the little groper, you know, yeah. The little groper Robinson, yeah, see, he was one of your followers. And he's the one that just so happened to say, went in and said he's the one that did it. All right? You nervous that smoke that them folk, that Charlie's people sent our way, sent the left way. You nervous that smoke finna now come around to you. So, you know, you was doing a live today, right? You did your little live thing whenever you did your little live scenario. And first thing you get in there, you know, you talking up Charlie. Of course you did. I don't want to hear that. I remember what you said about him before this. But then you come out of nowhere talking about a black guy. After everything that happened, a black guy got these MAGA hats and started handing them out to people, and you said he was stealing them. Dude, he gave the hats away. What's the big deal? You think the people worried about some freaking hats? When they've lost someone that is so dear to them that they've been calling for war, you think they worried about some little red and white hats? That tells me your level of desperation to keep the attention off of you. So now you want to use us, the melanated people, to attract that attention off of yourself. Because you don't want nobody talking about how you had nothing good to say about Charlie here recently. You was calling them a fake this and a fake that. And that's how your followers feel. So this is between you, Charlie followers, and your followers. We ain't got nothing to do with this. Keep our name out your mouth. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to sick them over on us. Because you don't want them on you. But I'm here to let you know. I'll let them know for you. You and Charlie were beefing. And one of your supporters, Mr. Robinson, yeah, he's one of yours. And he wound up confessing that he was the one that unalived him. That's the facts. Ain't nobody worried about no little funky red hats. I'm quite sure ain't none of them folk worried about a hat. I'm quite sure if you took a hat in his wife's house right now, she wouldn't give a darn about a red hat right about now. Or any of his fans. You look what you used to try to blow up into something. Some hats. That's telling me how desperate you are. That's telling me how terrified you are. And you wouldn't throw anybody in the line of that fire other than yourself. So now here you are trying to shove us back in there. We ain't got jack crap to do with this. We've been telling y'all this from day one. We ain't got jack crap to do with this. This between y'all. It's y'all. We ain't in it. We don't talk your language. We don't have none of the same mind like. We ain't got none of y'all habits. This is a y'all thing. And I appreciate it if you would keep it a y'all thing and leave our names out your mouth, you coward. You get up here and y'all talk all this mess, but you see what happened when it get real? You see what happened when it get real? Look at you. I can see you shaking from here. But behind that mic, you a mighty warrior, ain't it? You a keyboard warrior. But out here, in the real world, I hear your knees. I hear your knees from here. We ain't finna be your distraction. We ain't finna be your body that you need in front of that bullet. You earn this, you gonna take it. Right, you gonna take it. Damn skip it. I'm here to let them know. You sitting up here trying to throw somebody else up under the bus because you scared that bus finna plump yo behind. Well, that ain't got nothing to do with us. Them folks ain't thinking about no little stinking hats. And for you to pull that's the only thing you got. You desperate. You're desperate and you're terrified. And you're going to have to live with that desperation. And you're going to have to live with that fear. Because y'all created these. Running around here with them pew-pews, y'all created those. It was okay as long as y'all could aim and point them where you want them. But now that they turn and pointing in your direction, it's a whole new ball game. It's a whole other story now, ain't it? Huh. That still ain't our problem. This a y'all thing, and we gonna keep it a y'all thing. He was one of yours. You were beefing with Charlie. And booyah. End game. Now what? Some hats? Really? Your desperation is stinking to the high heavens. Ain't nobody buying that. You just steady trying to drag. You just putting you like a drowning man. You grabbing at anything to try to keep from going under the third time. But guess what? You going under. And you're going under alone. Just like you created this alone without our help. I'm sure you don't need us now, right? Get your 10 toes down, man. Come on, masculine men. Come on, why you shaking so hard? I thought you was all about that life. You really tripping. I'm telling you, man, when the rubber meet the road, you begin to see what's real. And what was a hoax the whole time, just somebody behind that keyboard make believing. And Nick, you sound like you were one of the ones make believing. Because you're so scared right now. You're desperate. You're reaching. You're reaching so far you can tie your shoes up without bending over. Because you can stretch your arms all out of their normal shape for reaching for some red hats when these people feel like they lost a heavy presence, a deeply heavy presence in their life. And you throwing out some hats. Y'all better hear that coward. You better listen to that yellow streak running down that back of his. Because see, now is the time when the truth really come out. He ain't about that life. Because if he was, he'd be standing 10 toes down on what he said when he said it. Y'all gonna stop letting these people play y'all and getting banked off of y'all by riling y'all up and sending y'all out. And they the last ones gonna be out there on the front line with you. Ain't that right, Nick?
Have you guys heard what Nick Fuentes' thoughts on Charlie Kirk is? And why it might have given Charlie Kirk's assassin the go on Charlie? Listen.
What has to happen with Charlie Kirk is one of two things. One, he needs to recant his support for Israel. Not I'm going to hear everybody out, you're not an anti-Semite. No, you need to come out and say, I took foreign money. I shilled for a foreign country, and I won't anymore. That's what we need to hear. That's option one. You can't take money from a foreign government and lie on their behalf and then say, oh, well, I'm just not going to be as aggressive anymore against and calling people anti-Semites and things like that. No, you need disclosure. You need accountability. Or two, you need to leave the stage. People cannot listen to somebody that they cannot trust.
That was Nick Fuentes telling his audience of white supremacists and far-right wacko conservatives that Charlie has two choices. He laid them out. Charlie had to come clean about taking money from Israel or leave the stage. It is very possible that the far-right Christian nationalist that took Charlie's life heard this podcast. You could take those words either way. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, but we do know he was a far-right Christian nationalist. We knew all along that our side had nothing to do with this. Taking a glimpse into this world, I could see how a 22-year-old kid can be taken back by this, can take this stuff seriously, and then take it into his own hands to do what he believes is the right thing to do. Tell me what you guys think in the comments.
Oh, no wonder Nick Fuentes canceled all of his public appearances that are coming up in the future. Yikes.
Sounded like Groypers. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them were fans of my show.
You have to understand, man, as a podcaster, as someone who speaks in public on public platforms, that a lot of people are taking what you say to heart in ways that you might not be able to predict. And I'm not saying that we are directly responsible for the actions that other human beings are taking, obviously not. However, people have been irresponsible with their words. I'm sure I've done it too, honestly. I think that as a country, we are so inflamed internally. We are so furious, and some of us very rightfully so, because many of us belong to groups that are being attacked, groups that are having their rights taken away. But when someone sits in the most powerful group in this country, which is still white men, and they say things like this, I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen. And this time, the violence was directed towards another white man. But very frequently, it's directed towards immigrants, women, the LGBT community, and minorities. And I know for a fact that, to a degree, that is Nick Fuentes' goal. I'm very curious to see if this truly rattles him, because I don't think his intention was to have his followers kill another white man.
Tyler Robinson was a Groyper, which is a white nationalist. It's a far-right group that follow Nick Fuentes. You've seen like the Pepe the Frog or whatever, that little meme. That's like their little mascot. And it's like 4chan, video game, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, it's all white nationalists and they follow Nick Fuentes. Here's a picture of him dressed up as one. Now, I've done 2 videos about this because I was speculating on it and I just wanted to get some more confirmation over the last few hours. This morning I had a feeling about it, but I wanted to get confirmation on what the casing said. And once I was reading as soon as it said catch this fascist, I knew everyone was going to go, oh, something about him's on the left. That is what they say on the right because they don't think they're fascist. They call everyone else fascist. Nick Fuentes constantly attacks people calling them fascists. And then the Bella Ciao or something, it's a song that the Groypers have on their playlist that they took from a video game. And if you're reading this, you're gay, LMAO, that is the very much homophobic attitude of Nick Fuentes. And then the other words about bulge and noticing and stuff that has to do with furries and meme and 4chan, whatever. Anyway, it's all Groyper, which is schmutzy. And this is important because they're trying to spin it. Well, I've got both sides. I've got the right, seeing that, thinking he's somehow on the left, or they want to spin it that way. But people on the left go, no, he must have been questioning things because he was anti-fascist. No, he was not. He was a fascist. I just don't think he knows that. Because when you're in the cult, you don't know. I grew up on the right. I had no idea I was doing racist things by the way I voted. Your brain is not your own, and the things you do are broken up into your brain in different compartments, so they don't compute the same. They don't connect the same. So I could have friends of all different color, family of all different color, and still vote Republican because it made sense in my brain because things don't connect. Because the center of your brain and your identity is your leader. And the rest is just kind of spontaneous moments, but it doesn't connect. Something has to happen to alter that. And Nick Fuentes and Charlie Kirk did not like each other. And I mean, there's a lot more to this, but this is just the basic information that you need to be telling people that this is red on red crime. Okay, there's fractions in there. I mean, that party's fractioning, but there's factions in there. They're all vying for power.
We're about to go down a deep, dark rabbit hole. And when I say dark, I mean dark. In order for us to get to Groyper, incel, femboy love, we're gonna have to start at the beginning. First and foremost, who are the Groypers? The Groypers are a group of far-right extremists who follow Nick Fuentes, who is a far-right extremist. This is the Nick Fuentes that said, "Your body, my choice." They use this image to represent themselves. You may have seen this image on the internet, usually making heinous comments. They are extreme far-right, even further extreme than MAGA. So extreme, in fact, that they believe Charlie Kirk and his followers are not extreme enough. And so for years, they've been beefing with each other, online mostly, but also in person, because Nick Fuentes would send his people to Charlie Kirk events to heckle Charlie Kirk. This whole entire community started on the deep interwebs. I'm talking beyond chronically online. I'm talking chronically online. I'm talking in the deep, dark interwebs of the internet. Places like 4chan and 8chan, where a lot of this alt-right extremist community originated. So because they were born from the internet, they speak internet language, aka they speak meme, and they speak niche internet culture. So some of the references that we've been seeing come out as more and more information has come out about the shooter, other chronically online folks have identified as classic Groyper terminology, Groyper symbology, and deep internet speak. things like the songs that were etched in the casings, the bullet casings, and things like the phrases that were etched in the bullet casings that on the surface seemed like they were just, anti-fascist statements. But in reality, were actually Groypers trolling, remember, online community, trolling Charlie Kirk followers for not being right enough, aka they were so not right that they were calling them fascists. Can you imagine that the extremist right is calling the extremist right fascists? Oh boy, we're doomed. As a side note, it sounds very reminiscent of leftists calling leftists who voted for Kamala liberals. Anyway, I digress. So what does all of this have to do with incel femboy love? Whew. Well, these communities that cropped up, these alt-right communities in the 4chan, 8chan worlds, many of them were populated by incels. If you were to make a Venn diagram of incels and alt-right, it might could be. And so there is a community in the incel community that is, once again, even more extreme than the average incel woman-hating community. And there is a sect of the incel community that are actually in the closet. But they believe so much in all of that right-wing, gender norm rhetoric that they become incels. Instead of just being in the closet, they straight up hate women. And some of them in this extreme wing of the incel community, or in other parts of extreme wings of the incel community, some of these people feel like such failures as men, and this goes for the whole entire incel community. Like that's one of the main principles of this, feeling like you are a failure as a man, right? Based on these patriarchal rules that ain't nobody telling you to uphold, poppy, but I digress. So there are some incels who feel like they have failed so miserably as a man that they have decided to opt out of living as a man and start living as a woman. And apparently there are some incels who have, quote, more feminine features, and so they will play that up and live within this incel community as, I'm pretty sure there's a name for it, and I don't remember what it was. You're gonna have to look that up. But femboy is another great name for it. So it wouldn't necessarily be trans, you know what I'm saying? Because the logic behind it is rooted in patriarchal bullshit and the rigid gender norms of conservatism. So basically combine that, right? You have part of the community who are in the closet, and then you have another sector of the incel community who I feel so defeated and have such a warped perspective about gender roles, because they also believe that, life is easier as a woman, you can just have guys buying you things. But, you have this other group who has opted out of living, decided they're just done with the male experience because they failed so badly at it. And so they're living in this kind of non-binary, I guess you can say, state of being. And all of this under the flag of this very rigid, very conservative, very patriarchal ideology. And they're coming together. And, this is apparently a known thing if you're a part of this community. So when it ties back to the unaliver of Charlie Kirk, one of the things that came out was the governor of Utah doing interviews saying that Robinson, the Pew Pewer, lived with a, quote, trans partner. And he was trying to imply that that must mean that he is not a conservative. But then when you understand the Groyper background, if all of this information is accurate, then it would mean the exact opposite. But that is essentially the rudimentary explanation. And again, this is their perspective. This is not, I'm just learning about this. It's a lot. It's a lot.
If the shooter turns out to have a feminine boyfriend, that strengthens the Groyper speculations. They are obsessed with femboys. Oh man, the chronically online wokeness is paying off. There exists a subsection of incels who are so celibate and hateful and fearful of women that they groom other incels into feminizing themselves for the sake of the cause. They call themselves operators and cosplay as characters like Ghost from Call of Duty and other very, very militarized characters in gear just to take that gear off and then being all ooh or oh whoa, hey, look at that. To be more specific, because I know a lot of you are actually looking for information, they wear military cosplays, but underneath those cosplays are like lingerie and knee-high socks. There's even a subsection of femcel who does the same thing, and the Groypers hate them. People are just now finding out that there exists a whole subsection of alt-right that genuinely views MAGA, the Make America Great Again movement, as liberal. And you're not even in the pipeline yet. You're looking at it from a way far away.
To anyone who wants to write off Groypers or the alt-right or black pillars as you're just incels, you just hate women, I appreciate the energy, but I don't think you understand the full picture here. You know, incels are not the end, right? There are steps after that. Yes, at some point they may have hated women, and I'm sure they still do, but it's not about that anymore to them. They are not just jealous that they don't have a relationship. Not really. Not anymore. And this whole black pill, fashy, third way politics is rooted in lots of depression and hatred and apathy, coding everything, fairly indiscriminately. And a core thought loop is this. They feel like failures. They feel alone. A lot of them, like the Charlie Kirk suspect, are probably college dropouts, or struggling in high school, or struggling to make friends, or struggling to feel anything or to care because of depression. So their minds try to rationalize this. They see communities that try to rationalize this, and they're trying to give each other support from the same mindset. And the conclusion they all reach is, it's okay, you're not missing out on anything anyway. They don't want to feel like failures, so they delegitimize external factors. It's no big deal, it's no big loss, it's all fake anyway, it doesn't matter. This helps them cope, because they don't have the social emotional skills to succeed, or to deal with how sad it feels to fail. So over time, they shift failing to get a girlfriend from a personal failing, or a personal ugliness, to women aren't worth it, women are bad. They'll push narratives that all women are dishonest or cheaters, or in it for money. They resent women. They're disgusted by women. They don't like women. At least their idea of women, which is the only capacity they're exposed to women. And a lot of them are closeted and gay. A lot of them are closeted and asexual, even if they don't realize it. I think a lot of them are probably also closeted and trans, but try to cope with a sense of masculinity by deciding that women aren't something worth being, and their own unhappiness is relatively better. So you get this confusing situation where they're talking about these conservative ideals, like the virtues of heterosexuality, but they don't have girlfriends. Some of them have boyfriends. Sometimes they'll even date trans people, but in a really derogatory way. They'll like trans women because to them they get the aesthetic appeal of women without this sort of imagined, genetically innate evilness of femininity. But they can do better than that. They can ditch all womanhood whatsoever. They love femboys. Aesthetically pretty, max gooner appeal, no women to be found. It's very common for far-right extremists to be kinda gay and very homophobic. So at a certain point, if you try to tell them they're just jealous because they can't get a girlfriend, you've only validated their perception that you don't even understand them and they shouldn't take you seriously. I wish they knew that normal society doesn't mind who these people are attracted to, because these communities end up gatekeeping their own queerness from each other for no reason whatsoever. They'll bend over backwards to be misogynists. And when they start seeing all normal people as objects they hold nothing but this disgust for, like bugs, that's when they go to school and don't come out.
What in the United States of cults and embarrassment is going on in the embarrassing states of caucus cults? What in the world is going on here? I know I am not alone. I am not alone. I know a lot of you people are also as confused as I am. So, all along these are not the same people. Meanwhile, Kirk was just, soft. And all these things of they love femboys, and I'm like, wait a second. And these conservatives, what in the cult is happening here? My goodness. And then I see Candace as well comes out and she's like, I know you. I dare you to open your mouth and wanting to take the space of I'm trying to gosh, this is deep. I don't know. Like, these things are getting crazier. And then, of course, the theories of the other country that has a star in it with blue ever, right? Where are we going? And why are these people not getting more confused in themselves instead of actually pushing this narrative on Black people? When Black people had absolutely nothing to do with your things. I'm gonna be honest with you, okay? What is going on in my head is something that is so dark and so demonic that is going on in the United States. And it's from the groups of people that purport themselves to be on the side of God, but what is on the down low is just something that is weird. Oh, guys, I'm told that on those, streets of Twitter X as well, that your man Elon is also involved in, not in the whatever cucks, whatever, but in these cults. Anyway, I'm not gonna say that you guys get embarrassed or ashamed because you ripped continents apart, came, stole, and still stealing, and still GE-ing people. I don't think you at this stage you're getting embarrassed. I've had a lot of questions, you guys, in my mind going on in this just smallest period of time, and I'm like, what is the correlation between these people and the fallen angels and the devil himself? What is the correlation? Because, okay, I'm not going to say that, okay, they're the only ones that are evil, but because we do have evil. Evil comes in all colors, right? But the magnitude of what we are looking at here is beyond me and my innocent mind. I didn't know that cults can start and stem from the internet, and all of these are allegations that actually the person that did the do is from the Groypers and whatever, because I guess they were beefing, but right now looks like this person is watering down. Yeah, so those are alleged. And as you've seen, those are reactions of the people, right? But what it is looking like, it's gonna get worse for different camps. But my question is, the people that be like, why man, fight back, why man, fight back, who are you fighting? Who are you guys fighting? Are you guys okay? Are you alright? Literally nobody else has anything to do. Do you know that you have a kingdom that is very separated from other kingdoms of the world, and you live in your own world, even if you still reside with Black and brown people? Do you know that you guys are just in your own category, and people cannot figure out, try to make sense of what in the caucus is going on here? But then you guys are running with masks. You're like, why men, fight back. And then you're threatening people that are speaking that are putting the mirror in front of you, and they're like, look in the mirror. What are you talking about? Fight back. I'm very confused. My brain shut down listening to the things that these people were saying. I hope yours did not shut down, because I brought this so that you guys see the things that are running on the internet so you can laugh. If your mind shut down so quick, then you're like me. Don't feel bad, because mine got Because quickly and immediately I tried to connect dots and nothing was connecting. And I think that is the instant I realized I dwell in a different realm, so I can never. I dwell under the shadow of the Most High. Yeah? And the wings, I'm covered and I'm... White man fight back. White men fight back. Against who? The cults are within you. How can you be far right and extreme and all of that? And these people, they are those that are standing for real, right? And then those that are seeing the light. That's what some of the things that Candace was saying, that the influencer that was taken was kind of like, okay guys, I don't want to sound crazy, but the internet can sometimes make you sound crazy. And when I see that I'm about to go crazy, I think I'll stop this episode. I'll let you guys to figure out what in the caucus is happening. What in the evil, what in the demonic realm is going on in the caucuses. Are you as confused as I am? Like the video and comment, please comment. Let me know that I'm not alone. Please let me know that I'm not alone. If you like this channel, subscribe. I am gone. But I will be back with other things that are not as confusing as this. But from the look of things, the call is coming from the house. And we are about to witness an explosion of the internet. Bye.